They're not gonna punch you like a 35-year-old longshoreman. They're gonna punch you probably like a 3-year-old toddler. Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. And today, I'm talking about the Blon B60, and the Sivga SV021, and the AKG K361. So the Blons, are these the KEF LS50s of headphones, except for cheaper? I don't know. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the Blon B60s. Today's sponsor is the WIIM Mini Streamer. For less than $100, one can get a streamer that has Tidal Connect, Spotify Connect, has its own application that brings in just about every streaming service known to man, pulls in your networked music if you have any, has EQ settings, and can output full 24:192 resolution out of its digital output, which means you can get this and hook it up to your own DAC. The WIIM Mini Streamer, $100. You can also hook a whole bunch of these together and have whole home distributed audio. Check out the link in the description and the pinned comment. All right, the Blon B60. It's these. These are silver. They come in two different colors, and it's the metal color basically. So this is the silver one, and it has one of these springy headband things. Metal here, metal here. It says imported walnut, but I gotta tell you, this feels kind of like vinyl covered plastic, but hey, listen, it could be real walnut, I don't know. 50mm beryllium coated driver. For all you folks out there who need a beryllium coated driver, does that make a difference? I don't know. Ear pads look to be like the hybrid kind. This right here is some type of fake suede, and then around it looks to be fake leather. This is what it looks like right here. A little bit of an oval shape, pretty deep. I never noticed my ear hitting the driver, which really bugs me. Speaking of the driver, this is it right here. It's a 50mm. And they have two things right here. I don't know. I'm sure it has something to do with the sound. So as far as the ear pads go, you can change them out because it's a pretty common connection. So you just got to get one of these. You can probably put big, huge ear pads on there if you want to change the sound, which you may want to do. As far as comfort, these are quite comfortable, very light, have a springy, these look really good. When I got them out, they felt a little bit light, and for whatever reason, I always equate heft, heaviness, weight, mass to quality. But in this case, these are a lot lighter than even the Sivga 021. They still feel really good. I just can't get over the fact that these are so light. I feel like they're not very good. That's just me. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm saying that's kind of the vibe I get. But everything is really well done. And they're $150, $155. So for $155, these are built extremely well. They look really, really good. Okay, cable. On the bottom here, they have two 2.5mm connections into both ear cups. And it comes with this cable, which luckily has two 2.5mm connections, and it has a little one of these, keeps the cords together, which is metal, cloth covered cable, metal splitter right here, and then it's twisted into a 90-degree 3.5mm output. I think it comes with a 6.35mm adapter too. Cable's really good. All right, okay. I think this is 5 foot, okay? I do that. If I could do this whole thing, it would be over 6 foot, but this is probably 5 foot cable. Perfect length. Got no problems. Cable loops up really easily, so nice cable. So I compared these directly to the Sivga 021s or Sivga 21s. I can't remember exactly what the model number is. And then the AKG K361s. This one I think is around 150 bucks. This one is about $105, the AKG K361. Sivga is about 150 bucks. All closed backs. So I'm not comparing the Blon B60s to open backs. Why? Because they're not open back. I'm going to compare them to other headphones that are in a similar price range that are all closed. The weird thing is these three headphones really couldn't sound more different. They all have a specific sound characteristic, and that is not a cop-out because I'm not going to say this one's the best one out of these three. There is a best one for me, and they all do enough good things that there's probably one up here for you if you are in that sub $200 price category and you want a closed back headphone. They're all pretty light too. These are actually, and I didn't even intend it to be this way, these are actually probably the three headphones which I would recommend for closed backs under $200. A happy accident, happenstance, coincidence. Incidentally, if you have watched any of my reviews and you like them or videos, please consider subscribing or liking the video if you ever like them. If you don't, listen, I'm not telling you what to do, but consider subscribing. Maybe turn the bell notifications on. If you turn the bell notification on, you will see my community posts pop up, and it's always a sale on speakers or stuff that I like or I think is a good deal. It may be worth subscribing and turning the bell notifications on just so you know when all those awesome deals are going on. Okay, how do they sound? Well, in the intro, I compared them to the KF-LS50, and that's really what they sound like to me. When I was doing my initial listening, there was not a lot of bass to speak of. Really none. I tried all my tracks. I tried Narcissistic Cannibal by Korn. There's nothing there. At the 1 minute mark, it goes doo-doo. You can even tell that it existed. Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys. Again, wasn't even really punchy. Killing Strangers by Marilyn Manson. Just a, you know, not a boom, you know, not gonna shake you. I knew what instrument was going on, but it didn't. Okay, so these are not bassy. They're not gonna slap you in the face. It's not like a giant catfish thrown onto a picnic table, that thwack. You're not getting that with that. This is a catfish-free headphone. That doesn't mean they're bad. It might mean they're not for you. And personally, these aren't probably the headphone for me, but that's my own personal preference. I'm not here to tell you what headphone is good or bad. Now, if a headphone is obviously bad and has resonance and things like that, then I'll talk about that. But when it comes to sound signatures or frequency responses, I am not going to say what is right for you. And I can see this headphone being appealing to a certain demographic of people that enjoy a certain type of sound signature, i.e. KF-LS50. If you like the KF-LS50, you're probably going to like these. So with the lack of bass, I did hear a lot of detail. A forward lean at the mid-range. Also a lot of detail on the top end. So I thought to myself, what type of music would sound good through these? Acoustic music, singer-songwriter music. So I talked to one of my patrons, Steve. I said, Steve, do you have any tracks that you would suggest that would be good with acoustic guitars? Maybe multiple acoustic guitars, people not screaming, like the type of music I listen to. Maybe melodies and things like that. Harmonies, maybe. He had some great recommendations. Jim, and I'm not even going to say this right, and I know people are going to go nuts in the comments. Jim Croce? Croaky? I don't know. Time in a Bottle. I've heard that song. That song. I've heard it before, and I'm sure many people know exactly how to pronounce his name. I don't particularly. Anyway, that song was excellent. Through the Blon B60s. There was a ton of detail with the acoustic guitars, with his voice. It sounded very pleasant, but again, there's really no bass to speak of. Graham Parker, okay? You can't be too strong. Another one, at least I can pronounce Graham Parker's name. His voice was a bit nasally, but it was still good. It was still detailed. There's still a lot of separation. Plucking of the guitar was very good. Uninvited by Alanis Morissette. That song can be very sibilant on some speakers and headphones that have a bit of a bump in the 3, 4 to 6, 7K area. The Blon B60s actually handled it quite well. So I could hear still some sibilance in that song, but it wasn't nearly as bad as a lot of other headphones, namely the Sivga S21s. Now, I personally like the Sivgas better than the B60s, personally. But I listen to metal, heavy rock and roll. I listen to stuff that I like to, a lot of bass. I like the lower mid-range guitar grunt riffs, Nirvana, stuff like that. So if you listen to acoustic stuff, you're probably gonna like the B60s better. If you like a U-shape, a V-shaped headphone, you're probably gonna like the Sivgas. If you want something more neutral that has some bass and some treble, a little bit better mid-range than the Sivgas, you're probably like the AKGs. Anyway, B60s are for acoustic music. I didn't find them to be nearly as dynamic as the Sivgas or the AKGs. However, the irony of this is when I was ABCing them, I actually consider the AKG K361s to have a really good mid-range, very clear mid-range. When I AB'd them between the Blon B60s to the AKGs seemed muffled and veiled in comparison. So if you are into mid-range and top-end clarity, the B60s are probably the headphone for you, because I never have considered these to be veiled. But in direct comparison to the B60s, I was like, whoa, I love these headphones, and they sound muffled almost. Here's the deal though. If you spend more time with any of these headphones, your brain starts to get accustomed or used to the sound signature. And some of the aspects of ABCing headphones goes away. If the mid-range is stepped back, if you listen to them for a while, it comes a bit forward. However, regardless of how long I listened to the B60s, I never got the bass to come back. It never shook me. It never got me as much as I'd like. To me, this is truly the KEF LS50 of headphones, but $155. So instead of $1,200, they're $155. If you're curious about the KEF LS50, maybe buy the B60s and listen to it and see if you like that sound signature. And if you do, then maybe buy the KEF LS50s. Or buy that, I'll link the video. It's a speaker that sounds like the KEF LS50, except it's like $300 compared to $1,200. Anyway, we're not talking about the KEF LS50 today. We're talking about the Blon B60. I think the Blon B60 has a lot to like if you're into specific music genres. If you're into stuff that doesn't have a lot of bass heft in it. So I don't think these are probably going to be for EDM fans or rap or metal, or if you like a V-shaped, punchy on the bottom, sparkly on the top, it's not going to be there. I did not try to EQ these. You could, if you want to, and try to add in some more bass. You can also try putting different ear pads on these. I think these headphones are really spectacular in the mid-range and the treble, not in the bass. They're probably pretty good for TV and movies, and they're small. You can wear them in bed and not bother your significant other. But if you're looking at these, go in knowing that they're not going to have a lot of punch. They're not going to punch you like a 35-year-old longshoreman. They're going to punch you probably like a 3-year-old toddler. It's going to be more funny than painful. All right? So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms. We also have a Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also sign up for Amazon Music or Tidal. There are links in the description. Click on the link, sign up. I get a couple of dollars. You can also use the links to buy any of these products. If you do, I do get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more, so it's a great way to support the channel. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu, unless maybe it's through one of these headphones. Binge listen, maybe through the B60s or the Sivgas or the AKGs, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.